So before we get started, I'm going to turn it over to Danny, our founder. He's going to greet you guys. So play a little bit, Ken.
Guess I'll come around here.
Yeah, wherever you want. I turned off the mic. I figured we're loud enough.
Oh, I can hear me. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm Danny. About 40 years ago, we saw young people just kind of out there, and y'all can relate. Some of you were that way. And you didn't hardly meet anyone that you knew going through the same kind of stuff, right? Remember those days? And all of a sudden, brain cloud just hit me with the kidney doctor at that time, and we decided to start a camp so we could get people connected and start a camp, and that's the oldest kidney camp in the nation. It's like 41 years old. So this year we're combining the kidney camp with Cabot because of other things, but that's how long we've been doing this stuff, and it's grown from us. Just saying a while ago that for the kidney camp and stuff like that, I had to beg people and so on down. I had money to pay them, but I had to beg, to come and volunteer. Now we turn away volunteers. So welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. If you ever want to make a difference in a person's life, which is kind of what life is about, right? To make a difference in a person's life, this is the opportunity to do that. Okay? And so we got some people here. Hi back there. You've been in camp. How many years you been in camp?
8 years.
8? All right. So he's an old man now. He's on this side, right? So what kind of difference is it making in your life?
It just got me connected to a lot more people that had it a lot worse off than me, and just got to learn all their stories and everything. Just got to connect with different people.
Mm-hmm. So, well, anyway, you're going to be meeting a lot of young people. They just want to be normal. Are you going to get into that?
Yeah.
Okay. So the emphasis will be just treat them like any normal person, right? And our camp's a little different. It's not as structured as a lot of camps, especially not like the military, right? So, if you go to like church camp and stuff, everyone herds around and you go here, and then everyone goes there, and then everyone goes there. This is different because we want them to make the decisions. We want them to make decisions that they should be making, like they know they should be taking their medicine at a certain time and so on down the line. So we will push them, but they need to learn to make decisions. So a lot of the time, it'll be open time. It seems like it's like, wow, this is confusion and so on down the line, but they get to choose what they want to do. So when you have the open time, the kids will be everywhere. And she's going to tell you that, let them do that, but kind of keep track of where your kids are at. Make sense? And that'll be your main charge unless you're one of the main nurses. All right? So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and for being here, for doing this. And I'll guarantee you, without exception, it'll be one of your best weeks of the year, and it will be one that you'll be tired. And but you'll come away, I think, just exhilarated. I do. So thank you. Thank you. All right?
Thank you, Danny. All right, so we have a lot of people in the room. You're not going to remember everyone's name, but I think it's always nice to just do a quick, your name and maybe how you heard about Cabot. So if you already volunteer with us, you were a camper, whatever. And let's just start on the back and then we'll swirl through. So can we start right here with you?
My name's Devin. What?
And then just how you heard about Cabot Kids.
My name's Devin. I go to SWASU in Weatherford, but I heard about Cabot just through the hospital and volunteering here.
Awesome.
I'm Ivy. I'm actually an intern here for Cabot Kids, and I heard it through school. I go to OSU.
I'm Hannah. I'm on staff, operations coordinator.
I'm Debbie. I heard it through my daughter who volunteers for Camp Cabot.
Ty Stallbush, I was camping for 8 years.
I'm Garrett. I heard it through my friend Josiah.
I'm Josiah. I heard it through my friend McCann.
I'm a former camper.
I'm Cheyenne. I heard it through another volunteer.
I'm
been here since August.
And I'm Jason, and I've heard through the Navy has a partnership with OU Hospital.
I'm Chance, same way.
I'm Tori, and I actually heard from Danny as well.
I'm Avery. I work here at Children's and kind of worked alongside Danny in ER for quite a while. And I'm Katie, and I heard it through my school student.
I'm Bryce, and I heard it the same way.
And Bethany.
They went to Evans and Kay, and they raised a ton of money for us, so.
Woo! I'm Emma, and I'm a former camper.
I'm Jessica.
Jesse really likes it if you tease her a little bit, so feel free. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna just dive in just a little bit about who Cabot Kids, who we are, what we do, and then we'll go into a lot of detail about what the campsite, what to expect, and then kind of at the end, we'll do a time for questions. So you may want to jot it down on your phone, or if you have a piece of paper or something, and that way, because if you have a question, it'll likely get answered in the coming slides, but if not, we'll do them all at the end, okay? And then one thing also, whenever you guys arrive on Tuesday for the big volunteer orientation and everyone checks in, you're gonna be like, this looks really familiar. It's an abbreviated version of what you're gonna get tonight. It's just different. It's more so on Tuesday a reminder and a refresher for everyone, and I encourage no questions so we get it done fast. So it's gonna look very similar. You guys will be pros by the time you see it again Tuesday. So, okay, so just kind of the facts. You'll see it on our t-shirts a lot, where illness does not define a child is our motto. Our 3 C's, if you noticed in the logo, you can see in the top left, it's C's and it looks like actually a tree. So I'm talking about growth, things like that. But character, coping, and connection is what that stands for. And our core values are hope, encouragement, perspective, acceptance, and trust. And our mission is to provide character, coping, and connection for kids battling life and illnesses. This is just kind of an overview. We actually operate 6 camps. We start the season in spring break with our ski camp, and that's for teenage cancer patients. And then we run all the way through. Beach camp is for patients with GI disorders like Crohn's, colitis, that kind of thing. It's actually only 2 years old. This year was our second one. Heart camp is for kids with congenital heart disease, heart transplants. Leadership camp is a mix of everyone, but it's only about 20 kids, and they actually have to write essays and apply for it. And we actually moved it to the end of the camp season into fall break so that the campers' behavior during the season affects who is chosen to go to it. And it's not really an activities go crazy kind of camp, as it is more so a really in-depth study about leadership. You need to understand yourself and develop your leader skills before you ever help others. So we really encourage them to tell their stories and to not let people feel sorry for them for what they're going through, but how can you use it as a platform to help others and make a difference. Camp Cabot is what you guys signed up for. It's about 200 kids, all different chronic and life-threatening illnesses. Camp Courage stemmed from back in the day. There was a Camp Kidney and a Camp Wildfire. Kidney was obviously kidney patients. Wildfire was kids with mobility limiting diseases. We meshed them and also included PKU and kind of became another camp that's around 100 kids now. Our programs are diversionary play, dialysis rewards, and transitions. All of you former campers in here, I don't see most of you at our transitions events, so mark your calendars, okay? They're really fun. Ask Ty, he comes. And then we do about 10 plus special events throughout the year. That's actually how I got in touch with a lot of the guys from the Navy. We go out to Tinker for every year, and we do Pilot for a day, and it's a really special program. That's kind of how we made the connection. But we do all different fun things throughout the year. We've done took a party bus to a Thunder game one time. We just had a night at the ballpark last weekend. All different things. I added this in. This is our impact report from 2018. And this just really shows you a big picture of what Cabot Kids does as a whole. Because whenever you think about Cabot Kids, you typically think about camps, because that's a huge thing of what we do and how we see a lot of kids. But we do a lot. Last year we served 332 total campers. 58 of those were new. We served over 15,000 kids in diversionary play. That's where Chance has been helping. The total number of kids served were 15,660 We started one week camp. There's 5 therapy dogs working. I saw 478 kids last year doing our therapy. That's a lot of kids, by the way. And 70 cents of every dollar people donate go directly to the kids. And then 27% is the number of kids in the U.S. living with a chronic disease. So, big things there. I think the most important that I like to tell everyone is, obviously there's big numbers here, but the fact that 70 cents of every dollar directly benefits the kids is a really huge one. I don't feel like with a lot of organizations you see that amount of money going directly to the kids. Okay, pre-camp information. So you should have received in your emails. You're going to be getting even more emails from me this week, because reminders and things like that. But at one point, you received a big PDF document that was the camp info packet. It's very in-depth detail, has a lot of information, and there's a really detailed packing list in there. So if you're a person that really needs a checklist on what to pack your bags, I highly encourage you to look at that. But here's kind of a highlight of things you'll need. Cool athletic style clothes, dry fit. This week we're really blessed with 80-degree weather, but if you've looked at the forecast for next week, it's supposed to be 98 to 100, and we'll be on blacktop. So, extra hot next week. Don't worry about looking really pretty. Actually, ladies, if your hair's all fixed and you have perfect makeup, we're going to make fun of you. So, do your best camp look. My camp look is so good that some of the kids don't recognize me, actually. So, that's fun. Closed-toe shoes. I would really encourage you to bring tennis shoes. It's going to be so hot. If you have cheap little flip-flops on, they're going to start to melt if you're on that pavement too long. So I would really encourage some good shoes so it doesn't burn your feet if the soles of any sandals are getting thin. Water shoes or sandals will be really great. If you have chacos, those are really great. So tennis shoes, whatever you like. Camera. There's not a lot of people, unless you're really into photography, that bring cameras these days. You're welcome to, or use your phone, whatever you want. Dance costume. This is almost mandatory, you guys. This is very important. We have a Wild West theme, so whatever you'd like to do. I've heard about some costumes, and some people are going like Gone with the Wind style. Some people are doing like Old Saloon. So your best Western attire, whatever you would like. Twin XL bedding. Yes, if you are in a camper's cabin, you get a really nice bunk bed. And I always brought one of those like $20 foam toppers from Walmart, and I put that on my bed, and then I put my sheet on the bed because the mattresses are about this big. So I would encourage you to do that, but you can do what you want. But yeah, twin XL bedding. Typically people do like a fitted sheet and a blanket or something, sleeping bag, whatever you want, but you do need twin XL bedding. Shower stuff. So your basics, you do need to bring a towel, shampoo, conditioner, whatever you need for the week. Deodorant, you'll need lots of it. Bathing suit, modest, please. This is the most uncomfortable conversation I have with volunteers when I have to talk to you about your inappropriate swimsuit. So if we could avoid that, that's always my favorite. So ladies, what does that mean? 2 pieces are totally okay, but think like more athletic style, so something not like a triangle low cut, so something more like sports bra-ish with not skimpy bottoms. Hey, come on in. You can sign in right here and then sit wherever. We're just getting started. Or one pieces, they're super popular again, but not the ones that are like cut down like this. So higher on the chest, please. And then guys, keep your speedos at home. Just keep regular shorts, please. So if you have a question about your swimsuit, you can send me a picture of it or whatever and ask if you're doubting it. Yeah, if you could avoid inappropriate ones, that's always my favorite. And then you will need a cover up. So let's not just like walk through the whole camp in our bikini. It's really, there are some cute volunteers here. It's a great way to meet people if you're single. But let's try to put swimsuit cover-ups on when we're not at the pool. So that'll be good. Food and snacks. So if you're come on in. We have a sign-in sheet right here, and then sit wherever you'd like. Okay. We're just getting started, so you're not. Okay, good. Food and snacks. So them, and they're basically junk food. They're cookies and chips and candy. Feel free to bring your own camp snacks, but we cannot store them or refrigerate them for you. So if you have any special things that you really want to bring, I would encourage that they not need refrigeration, or that you bring like a little cooler that's really great for a week. So, okay, Tuesday arrival, what to expect. You provide your own transportation to get to the camp. 12:30 we'll start kind of unloading all of our supply trailers. So please come help if you can. We're kind of just dropping them off at the stations they belong, and then the people that kind of run those areas will unload them and set up how they like. 5 o'clock will be pizza and check-in, so volunteers all kind of start to come in. We'll check in at the town hall, which is kind of like our main hub, and it'll say town hall out there. You'll see it on the map. 6 o'clock we'll start orientation, so it's going to be kind of this slideshow again, and just act like you're related to it. 7:30 we'll pass out the cabin binders and the radios. We'll go over the kids that are in your cabin with you. I'll highlight special things like if this kid is really terrible about remembering to take their medicine, or this kid stole some stuff last year and you should look out for that. Any of those really special things that you kind of need to know. We'll go over their med schedules, all of that to make you guys comfortable. And then after that, we're going to do a final camp setup if there's anything else where people are needing help. I know that the ladies that run the jewelry room asked me if they could have a little extra help. So if you do happen to arrive around 12:30 and you want to go to the train depot, and it's Pam and Christina, they're super sweet. They just need a little help setting up. They can't reach things and they can't really climb ladders or anything. So, thank you.
And 6'4", so.
They would love that. So, awesome. But yeah, and then we'll just kind of be hanging out. It's a really great time for you to hang out with other counselors and people in your area and kind of start to meet a lot of volunteers. Figure out your single if you want camp dance. You know, I always like a good camp dance. Helpful things to know: radios. So there'll be like those giant walkie-talkie things, and we have them for every head counselor, our medical team, our logistics team. They're kind of assigned out, so every cabin will have one. You may not have to carry one. And honestly, they're really heavy and they kind of pull your shorts down. So if you don't have to carry one, it's great. But if you do, you have to keep it. So, incident reports. So anything that happens, we'll go over these in detail. We really ask, like, if it's something you're like, oh my gosh, actually I need to tell you about this. If you think that I should know about it, or the staff should know it, it should probably be wrote on an incident report so we have it on paper. There's the command post. That's another kind of internal lingo word. Basically, it's like our central station where all of our extra supplies, we have forms, stuff like that is all kind of stored. And actually, the nurses are giving us, for those of you that are familiar with that campsite, when you walk in the nurses station, there's like a big U shape of counters, and they said that we can have that because they're going to use the bays for their stuff. So it's kind of going to all be in one area. So, lost luggage. This is my favorite thing. Is the kids get off the bus and they haven't even eaten lunch yet, and they can't find their bag, and they want it right now because it has their bedding. Well, we have 8 more hours before you need it, so stop trying about it. It's kind of how it goes. So just tell them, hey, we'll find it. I'm going to write it down. We'll figure it out. You know, and just trying to remind them that they don't need their bag right now, and we'll find it. So some of them just get really caught up on where their bag is, and they can't get over it. But just let them know we're not going to worry about it until we try to go to sleep. So, Wednesday schedule. What you're going to do in the morning is we'll have breakfast. We'll wait for the campers. If you guys want to make signs that, like, you know, because I got the schedule sent out, and you guys have cabin colors, so they're red or purple or brown or green or whatever. If you want to make some posters that's like red cabin or something, or just something fun, so we can kind of cheer when we get off the bus, you're welcome to bring anything like that. So. We have some volunteers who've been with us for a really long time, and it's the Snow Cone Twins. And when they used to serve in the cabins, I walked in one of their cabins, and they had rugs in their bathroom to make it more homey. They had decorations hung up, lights strung outside their cabin. I wanted to hang out in their cabin after I saw it. So bring any of the junk that you would like to bring to make it better. Go for it. So when the kids get off the bus, cheer, get really excited. They're all going to be wearing the color shirt that is your cabin. So you can look for all the little purple shirts and gather them together, and that's how you find your kids that way. We'll eat lunch together as a cabin. They'll try to break off if they know other kids, to tell them, hey, we're gonna sit all together today. You don't have to do it every day, but at least the first day so they can see who's in their cabin and kind of get them to start bonding. And then after that, we'll go to Danny's challenge, and then we'll have activity time, they can set up beds, do all of that. Required forms, so you guys are already registered online, you give us your attendance photo, background check. There's not a can't type waiver this year. If you have not made a donation yet, we request a $30 donation for volunteers, but we welcome any gift of any size. So if you're like, hey, I can only swing $5 this year, $5 is greatly appreciated. If you can swing $500, we would really like that too. So whichever one. Volunteer code of conduct. You've actually already signed this online. It's the last page of the applications, but I have to read it over with you to make sure everyone knows. But you signed in the code of conduct that said there'll be no verbal, physical, or mental abuse or hazing. Hazing would be any prank that's targeted or damages one property or is mean in nature. To clarify, I love pranks, and I think this is so much fun if it's in good nature. So I've always known my cabin is doing something to me when I'm in the shower and things get real quiet. So one year my bed was on top of the golf cart outside. One year it was across the street on the porch of someone else's cabin. So that's fine. You know, I think it's in good fun. One year kids missing baby, we're okay though.
Fifth floor, children's hospital.
So one year one of the kids, they put shaving cream all in this kid's bed, and that means he didn't sleep that night because all of his bed was wet. And it was just one kid, and kids had kind of been picking on him and teasing him that week, so then that's not okay. You know, so just kind of remember, like, well, how are they treating this kid? Is it really fun? Are they all having a fun time? Like, one year, my girls' cabin, toilet paper in a boys' cabin. Granted, I made them go take that toilet paper back and they had to reuse it later. So, you know, but you know what I mean? That was in fun for a group. Just make sure no one's being targeted in a mean way and that it just doesn't destroy anyone's stuff. So, I'm usually the target, honestly, for most of these because one year they stole all of my stuff. Like, I mean, not a single thing left. And I had a scavenger hunt where I had to go find all the pieces. And my bra was hung up on a deer head one time. And then one of the male volunteers were wearing my pajamas at the end. You know, you never know what's going to go. But it's all in good fun. All punishment or discipline is by the Cabot Kids staff only. So if you have an issue with it and you feel like there needs to be some sort of discipline or action other than telling them, hey, don't do that, this is wrong, please come to me or Neil. You'll know Neil, he's tall with dark hair, black beard. The two of us handle all discipline. So please don't punish them and tell them they have to do 50 push-ups or that they're not cool or say something to them. I don't know. So just please don't discipline them at all. You can tell them that that's not okay, but other than that, leave the discipline up to us. And please don't ever turn any discipline to Danny because we like him to be the yes man. He's like grandpa, you know. They're really nice. And we bring Danny in for the I'm disappointed in your behavior speech. So that really gets the kids in the heart there. It makes them feel bad. So we leave him for that.
I can do the guilt.
Yeah, he really brings the guilt trip in good. So they get mad and yell at me, but they won't do that to him. So it works good that way. Please respect all religions, ethnicities, and cultures. No profanity or crude comments. Again, modest attire. In your swimwear, your shorts, use cover-ups. Be able to assist campers with their needs. That does include showers. You, as a general volunteer or a camp counselor, are not required to give them a shower. If you have a medical background and you're comfortable with it, you can help. But if you're not, don't feel like you have to do it. Let the nurses know. Most of them know the kids that need help showering, and a nurse will come in and actually do that and help them change clothes. We have a few kids that are completely wheelchair bound, and so they just can't do that on their own, so they have to maneuver them. You don't want to hurt your back if you don't know how to do it. Typically, what you actually have to do is make sure that their hair comes out wet and smelling good, and then when they don't, say, I'm going to go back in, and then reach in and squirt some soap on them. So some of the kids, I tell them, I'm like, unless I see bubbles coming out of the floor, you're not coming out of here, okay? So, that's really all you guys would be needing to do. No weapons, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, or vapes are allowed for the whole week at camp. So if you're a smoker, this might be your chance to quit because you can't do it at camp. But you can't just sit in your car and smoke either, so maybe bring a lot of nicotine gum if you're a smoker. So, and then just be a role model and exhibit the 3 C's, character, coping, and connection, and just really be the role model for these kids. The camp overview. Here is kind of the graphic for where everything is. It's different now looking like this. I'm confused. This is the cafeteria. There's kind of the park. A lot of the lodging is right through there. The schoolhouse is G, that's where all the nurses are staying. And I think R, I don't know, that says restroom, 29, town hall. 29, the top middle and has like the trees. That's town hall, so that's kind of like our main hub of where we do everything. Side note, we are sharing this campground with another group. It's a youth group. That's part of how we got this date, was being flexible. This campsite sleeps about 600 people, and we're only using 350 of that. So if they can get their money and use it for both, then why not do that? So they're going to have totally separate sleeping arrangements. We won't be mixed in. They'll have different meal times than us. We may be, I told them I was fine if they wanted to use the activity time at the same time we do them. So there may be some kids that are not ours doing the go-karts or swimming or whatever. So keep that in mind if a kid's being not so good and you go to discipline them. Unless they have a cabin kid's name tag on, they may not be ours. So just keep that on your radar. They're a youth group. They're younger kids. I think they're around 12 years old. I would assume, because I feel like most youth retreats I went to had a whole lot of Bible study and things where you were required to be in one area. So I can't imagine this being an issue, but just keep it in mind before you yell at the child that they may not be our child. So, all of our kids will have a name badge on that says Cabot Kids, unless they're in the swimming pool, but every one of our kids has to have a wristband on, and they are, orange or green. So, kind of look for those signifiers before you tell a child to pick up that trash that they threw on the ground, or whatever it is. So, the campgrounds. There are 12 camper cabins, 7 girls, 5 boy areas, and the typical ratio is about 16 campers and 4 adults. It's a little different on this one. They actually remodeled and changed all of the numbers after I completed all the cabin assignments. So basically a whole week the work went down the toilet and I had to redo it all. So that was fun. But there's a few cabins, so if you happen to be, I think it's the blue and peach for girls and the brown for boys. If you happen to be in those cabins, you have a lot of children, like 32 of them. But I doubled the amount of counselors in there, so the ratio is still about 1 adult for 4 kids. But when you get your list of the campers, you might be a little overwhelmed. But don't worry, you have more adults in there to supervise. So I haven't specifically told all those cabins yet, so if you're in one of those, we can talk later. There's boy and girl cabins, there's a nurse's station. There'll be some areas that just have adults in them. Town hall and cafeteria, those are kind of key areas you'll be looking at. The park is what they call it here, which is like you'll see the big windmill and all of the activities are kind of through there. The general rules. My number 1 rule is to have fun. I want it to be the best week ever for these kids. A lot of them don't, their families can't afford a family vacation, or they just don't really feel like people get them. And a lot of them can say that this is the best week of their year, and it's the one thing they look forward to all year. So I want it to be really fun. No campers alone in the cabin. There should be a rule of 3, whether it's 2 adults, 1 kid, 2 kids, 1 adult. There should never be alone one-on-one. Because in the instance that a child says, that I did something to them, and it's just the 2 of us, we're always going to take the child's word. So just never put yourself in that situation. How that typically happens is we're out in activity time, and the kid says, I need to go put on my swimsuit, I want to go to the that's a really easy time for them to say that something inappropriate happened, and you don't have anyone on your side. So before you run in and say, oh, let's get one more kid, we have to be in 3, or let me grab one more adult, and just don't put yourself in that situation, okay? That's really, I feel like, the main time it happens. If they're really tired and they want to take a nap, don't allow them to nap in the cabins. They can go to the nurse's station and they can go take naps there because they'll be supervised. But some of the kids truly are tired and they want to take a nap, and some of the kids want to be alone in the cabin because they want to look through people's stuff and see what they have. So just don't allow that at all, okay? No leaving the cabin at night after lights out. Just do this the best you can. Sometimes you'll be looking for another kid. It's okay to go get them. But really, as a group, keep your cabin. When we're supposed to be in the cabins, lights out at night, try to keep them in there. Some of them are a little riskier than others, and they want to sneak out and go to the arcade or do something. Just use your best judgment, okay? Keep them safe. At night, when you're supposed to be asleep, radio the camp director meal if any kids are missing. So kind of do a bed check, make sure you've spotted all of them, and let us know if anyone's missing. They ultimately are still kids and they're still teenagers, and they like to sneak out and do things. So they could go missing. So just let us know so then we know if we need to start looking for them or what happens. The cell phone policy. I allow the kids to have their cell phones, but in limitation. I like them to have their phones because they're like your biggest social media advocates. They'll post pictures all day long, they'll put #HabitKids, and they'll blow it up. And then grandma sees that this is fun and she wants to donate. So I'm okay with that. And they want to get pictures with their friends at the dance or at American Idol, and that's okay. But when we're in Danny's Challenge, I want them to turn their phones off or on silent and put them away. I don't want them scrolling through Instagram at that time. And the same for adults. Just set the example and make sure you're not doing it that time too. So then they're like, well, you're doing it. You will see staff on our phones. I'm just going to let you know, we're not surfing Instagram and watching Instagram stories. There's constant communication between us of things that are happening that you guys don't know about. So just keep in mind the staff is not, looking for some new makeup tutorial. We're truly solving some sort of problems going on. Just make sure you guys are really respectful with the phone, set the example so that the kids follow the same thing. And then don't it's okay to call them out. If they're, playing on there while it's the middle of the challenge, say, hey, put it away or I'm going to keep it for the rest of the day. And they usually put it away at that point. So, discipline, like I said, leave it to me and Neil. Dylan should be leading the campgrounds. Everyone needs to be wearing their name tag and wristband unless you are physically swimming in the pool. The wristband stays on at all times. It's plastic and it stays on all week. If you don't have a wristband on, especially as a camper, then you're not going to go do anything fun. You have to go to the nurse's station to go get one. So what they like to do is if they are not released to swim in lake water, they like to swap out their bracelets for someone who can swim in lake water so that they can go down there and go tubing with one of the boats. But they are medically not clear to be in lake water. So if it looks like it's really giant on their hand and it doesn't fit them right, take it and say, no, this isn't yours, we're going to check. Because one of our little buddies likes to do that. So his name is Bladen, and he likes to swap bracelets out. So he should be on your radar for that. I don't know if he's clear for it this year or not, but that's his favorite trick to do. Let's see. Volunteers with no name tags. So they have to be, the security is armed and gated, and they have a checklist through us for who can be on the campsite. But we like our volunteers to still have name badges on, just in case you never know if someone was able to scroll through. Just for safety, we like them to have it on. So keep an eye out for that. All of our campers sign media releases. We had a few kids deny the media releases this year. Their parents denied it. They could be in foster care, and so they're not allowed to have photos taken. But their camper name badge will be printed in red if they cannot have a photo taken. So make sure you respect that because they could sue us for not following it if we're taking photos of them, okay? Campers calling home. I'm okay with them calling, but please don't let them call at night. Have them call in the morning and talk about all the fun things that they're going to go do today. And how exciting it's going to be. When they call at night, what actually happens is mom says, well, don't you miss me a little bit? And then they start to get sad, and then they start crying and they want to go home. So I like them to talk in the morning when it's fun, upbeat, we have a whole day to distract them. I don't want to risk any homesickness at 10 o'clock at night. It's not fun. So each in the morning, campers going home. If a camper did something bad enough that they're being sent home for their behavior, we actually make their parents come pick them up, so then they're mad that they had to drive there. So it's kind of extra punishment for everyone. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. And then other than that, if they're going home because they're sick or something, we provide the transportation and get them home safely. We do not allow parents to volunteer at camp. We need everyone to have a break. We have so many of those helicopter mamas, and we can take care of their kids just fine. We'll be really great to them, and they need a break too. A lot of times, maybe the parents haven't got to spend a lot of alone time because they're 24/7 care for the child, or maybe there's other kids in the home that are not sick and could use a little attention. So that's why we do it this way. The only time there's a parent not camp volunteering is typically if they are on our medical team, and so we need their help. But I always ask them to pretend they don't know the child so that they can have fun, and don't discipline their child because that's not fair. So if they see them being a brat, come tell us and we'll do it, but it's not fair that their mom is there to watch them. Other kids don't have that. Cancellations, we have somewhere around 190 something kids. Naturally, there's going to be some that cancel, don't show up. It'll drop a little. Maybe they get sick all of a sudden. You never know. What will happen? And then social media. Make sure you guys follow us on social media. We are really active on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And when you post things, use the hashtag CabotKids and Camp Cabot. Snakes. This is our snake killer. His name is Curtis. At the traditional campground at Camp Cabot down at Lake Texoma, snakes are actually a huge issue, and they kill a lot more snakes than you really want to know about. It's not as big as a concern at this one. He is still scheduled to come, so I believe. No, not anymore. He canceled today, so you're on your own for snakes. But yeah, so I haven't had any sort of snake issue there, but I have seen on the news. Have you guys seen like the wildlife department? They have like a crazy bobcat issue in Adair right now, so that may be more of a concern. But not with all those kids; they're loud enough that they shouldn't be there. My husband likes to go run in the morning to get ready for football season, and I was like, "Don't go too early because the bobcats are out." Golf carts. At Texoma, we have like a golf cart army. There's like 25 golf carts all over the place because it's huge and everything's kind of far away. We don't need as many this year because everything's paved and fairly central. So we only have 7, and they'll be assigned. So unless you were assigned to drive a golf cart and you signed a waiver because Cabot staff asked you to, you won't be driving one. And just remember, you break it, you buy it. So we did have some incidents. We had one last year and some in previous years where people go a little crazy and they like to drive the golf carts at night with no headlights on and weave through the trees, and you naturally hit something and mess it up. So just remember, you break it, you buy it. So the tattletales come out when we start looking for money. You know, they're like, you should ask so-and-so what happened to it. So we find out very quickly. So just keep that in mind. The golf carts, they'll be labeled medical, staff, logistics, and we'll have 2 that are named taxis. We have specific drivers for those, and they're just camper taxis for the kids that struggle a little bit to get around. We don't want them using all their energy to walk to the go-karts. So just try and keep those for the kids mainly, and those just drive nonstop, moving kids around. What is it like? It's a free-for-all. I like to call it controlled chaos. So that's very much how it's going to feel. So if you like a lot of structure and order and to know where the kids are, this might test you a little bit. So that's not what we're going to do. Well, know in general where they are, but not exactly. It's a very relaxed format. It's structured with individual choices. So yes, there is structure as far as mealtime, American Idol, the dance, Danish Challenge. Those things are required. But when it's activity time, they choose. If they want to spend all week racing go-karts and never see another activity, then that's on them, you know? So just kind of keep that in mind. There'll be some kids that that's what they want to do is this one thing, and that's all they do. So it's not like other camps where everyone does arts and crafts and everyone plays basketball and everyone does this. It's not that way at all. Be flexible, but respect the schedule. Be at places on time, and just make sure that the kids feel normal and have fun. If you feel like when the kids are telling you their story, it's just so sad and you're going to cry, you should excuse yourself and go to the bathroom, because they just want to feel like a normal kid right now. They don't want you feeling sorry for them. You know, they're okay typically with sharing their story, but they just want to feel normal, you know? So my mother-in-law personally is a crier, so she had to, you know, excuse herself a few times for that. That's okay. She's been back every single year, and she just wants to know who they are and what's going on, and she loves to be there with them. But just keep that in mind that they really don't want you to feel bad. They just want you to have fun with them. And make the most of the week. This is something I really encourage all of our staff to do. We can really get caught up, you know, as you're volunteering and you have a job to do, on, no, I have to do this, I have to do this. And maybe the kid really wants to race you in go-karts. Go take the break and race the kid on go-karts. One of our former staff members, he just was so structured on, he had to do this and he had to do this and he had to make it perfect. And we said, no, go take a break and go play go-karts with this kid, because the kid couldn't reach the pedals, so you need someone to drive him. So we wanted this guy to drive him. And less than a week later, that boy died. So I was like, aren't you happy that you took him to go ride go-karts? And he was like, I really, really am. So just keep that in mind that, you know, tomorrow is never given, and we have no idea the path that their health will take them. So make sure you capitalize on any moment for fun with them, and you won't regret it. The medical side. So you might feel a little apprehensive or scared. You may not know what to expect and say, like, I have no medical background. You're afraid you'll get sad and cry. That's okay. And you're nervous about what to say to them. You've probably never been around sick kids before unless you have a medical background or a family member. And that's okay. The majority of people are actually in your boat and don't know what they're doing. So it's totally fine. So here's kind of the overview of what we have. We have somewhere around 200 kids coming. Around 190 will actually show up. They're from all over Oklahoma and some surrounding states. We actually have one boy who used to live here and then they moved to, I think, North Carolina, and he's flying back for camp. So that's how important camp is. And they're from all different walks of life. Some of their families are super, super rich, and some of them are very poor. Some of them are educated, some of them are not. Like, it is everything you can imagine. But everyone there has some sort of chronic or life-threatening illness. Sometimes you'll hear the kids say, I'm not even sick. Well, they're lying. But they see some other kid who's way, way more sick than they are in their eyes. So they're like, oh, I was sick when I was 8 and I'm fine now. Well, they're probably not fine, but in comparison to the other kids, you know, they feel fine. And that's okay. But don't question and be like, you're letting not sick kids show up here. That's not the case. So we actually have a video of one of the little boys. We're talking and we're asking, and we're like, you know, what do you have? And he's like, I got nothing. And he has tubes hanging out of his belly for his treatment, and he has bandages. And so, you know, sometimes they think they're not sick, but they are sick. And most of the kids are ages 10 to 18. At this particular campsite, since we merged Cabot and Courage together, at Camp Courage, we allow kids as young as 8. And then I'm kind of just a softie, and if they're medically not going well and they may not live till next year, and say they're only 6 or 7, I say yes. So you may have some really little kids coming, okay? So there are some young ones. We have a few 6-year-olds coming, so we'll just see how it goes. They typically get homesick and want to go home, but at least we didn't deny them the experience to do it, right? So if you have the red cabin or the green cabin, you may have very young children in yours. They'll be okay. Siblings or guests. First-time campers are allowed to bring a guest or a sibling. This is just for us to bribe them to come. They're really scared about coming, and if we say, hey, you can bring a friend, then they'll usually come. So that's what that's about. super inspiring. That's how I get through anything that I'm scared of, is I remind myself, like, what these kids go through every day, and I'm like, stop being a weenie and suck it up, okay? This is what I go through mentally. A lot of them are really angry and feel alone. It's the only place that they feel normal. Some of them are super sheltered because mama does everything for them. And some are really independent because their parents don't help them with this stuff. They may look totally normal or they may look totally different. A lot of them, what you typically find with this population is either the whole town really rallies around them and supports them, or they're weird. There's no in between. It's like they get picked on and they're not cool, or they're the coolest kid and everyone wants to be their friend. Sadly, that's kind of just how it is. So they could be outcast at home. They could be kind of defiant and bratty. They could act really old for their age. There's some kids that I'm like, you're like a 40-year-old and they're 10. They could act really young for their age. There's a particular camper that's 13, and we had him at art camp, and I had to hold his money because it was just flying out of his pockets. And he lost his phone about 3 times a day. So there's all different ones. They could be really scared. They could really be emotionally exhausted. They could be embarrassed still. But ultimately, they're really, really amazing kids. If they're trying to be kind of a little bratty with you, or that they're just not being nice, know that there's probably something else going on. One of the campers we had one year, they were not their self, and they're typically the most outgoing kid, so nice and welcoming to everyone, and she always sang songs, and she was just downright mean. And so I sat her down and talked to her, and she started crying, and her mom had been diagnosed with cancer, and she was scared about her mom dying. So just know that if they're acting funny, there's probably a reason why. So try not to get frustrated with them because there's probably something else going on. Yes, that is a leg left behind on the beach while you went swimming. It was later found in the lost and found. So these are normal things that happen at camp. One of the kids wrote a joke because there's always like one flip-flop left behind. And she's like, how do you lose one flip-flop? Like, is someone walking around with one leg? And we're like, actually, maybe. So some of the things you'll hear, central line or any dressing changes, you don't need to know about what any of these mean. Our medical team is awesome and they'll take care of all of it. But this is just a few words to kind of help you feel familiar with things you might hear. A port is in their chest, and that's where they get their treatment or medicines. Binders, a lot of the kidney kids used to take those. Pacemakers, EpiPen, they can keep their EpiPens on them. So that's one medicine they can keep with them. They'll say meds, hydration, push that a lot. It's going to be really hot, so everyone will need to be hydrating. Seizures, look out for camera flashes if they're epileptic, because you don't want to be triggering it with all those flashes. Dialysis, that will be done on Wednesday and Friday morning. Some of the kids will have feeding tubes. And then mental versus physical age is a really big thing. Okay, medical forms. They're given to the head counselor and they're in a binder. This never leaves the side of the counselor. And it is all really private information. So it has their diagnosis in it. It has information on if the kid wets the bed, or if they're known to steal things, or if they lie about stuff, or anything that we don't want other kids knowing about. So this always stays with the head counselor. What I typically did with my binder is I would either put it underneath my pillow or in my suitcase. So if you were rummaging around in my bed or my suitcase, you've got big problems. I always just told the other counselor where it was at, so if they needed it, they could look at it. But if the kid's going to be looking through my stuff in that way, we've got bigger issues to deal with. So that's where I kept it. During activities, you do not need to carry it around with you. There's no reason for that. But you'll want it in the cabin. You'll have to return that to the command post on Sunday. And then just be sure when you have it out that the campers don't look at it. They are the biggest nosy butts. And as soon as you open that thing, they're, what's in there? Or they suddenly want to sit with you. You know, it's because they're being nosy. And tell them, go sit over there until I have this out. Just tell them it's fine. Pay close attention to if you have kids that calf, which means that is the way for them to go pee, or ACE flush, which is how they go poop. You don't have to do these, don't worry. They typically know how to do it themselves, or we have a procedure nurse. Dana Roos is going to be your new best friend because she's doing all these procedures for the whole week. And she'll take care of these. But what happens is the kids don't want want to do them because they don't want to take out 30 minutes of activity time to go do this. And let me tell you, if the ACE flush backs up, things eventually have to come out. And they will surprise come out. So make sure that those things are getting done, or you're going to have a very smelly situation on your hands, okay? So just make sure, like, hey, did you do that today? Just do it discreet, like, hey, did you get your flush done today? Or did you remember to cap? And so that, it's private, but you don't want these to come out later. Showering, this is a big one. My favorite is they'll say, I went swimming today. I don't care, you stink. So go back in and make sure they use soap. Brushing your teeth. You can tell by about the second day which ones aren't doing it, because it starts to smell real bad. So just go tell them, like, hey, you stink, go brush your teeth, or whatever. And you have to do it. But sometimes it happens. We don't have a lot of it, but if it happens, there is laundry on site in the nurse's station. So just do your best to discreetly take their stuff and go put it in the wash, and we'll get the bed made. Central lines, there'll be kids that have it, they know they can't get it wet. Sunscreen is a must. We will have it everywhere. There's extra in the nurse's station. We have children that are very, very fair. And we had a kid at our camp that their hands got burned. I would never have thought about putting sunscreen on my hands. So some kids burn real easy, so just make sure you encourage it. And my new favorite, this is popular with the teenage girls, is I'm allergic to sunscreen. Well, you should have brought your own. And it doesn't say that on your form, so we're going to spray you anyways. So they all want to get tan, and it's annoying. They have to wear it. Behavioral problems, the things, if you tell them like, hey, chill out, calm down, whatever, and it's not working, then get me and Neil involved. Water restrictions, encourage hydration with everyone unless you have a camper that has a water restriction, and in that case, don't. Med schedules, you'll have in your binder, it'll be separated, all the campers' names, and it'll have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and bedtime meds. And what I typically encourage everyone to do is have one counselor over each section. So say I take the breakfast meds, and I know these 5 kids have to go every day before breakfast. So I make sure that they get up and I take them with me. Someone has lunchtime, things like that. So then you're not as one person trying to be responsible for the whole thing. You can share the responsibility that way. Drink lots of water, don't forget to take care of yourself. And if by chance you start to get a little dehydrated and feeling bad, I ordered these magic tabs that you can go get from the nurse's station. They actually use them for a lot of paramedics, and they're these little electrolyte tabs, and you just take them and drink a lot of water, and they're going to make you feel good so fast. You don't even know. I keep them at home. You buy them on Amazon. So make sure you take care of yourself so you can help others. This is a reminder about why we do what we do. This is from one of the campers. She wrote, Camp Cabot is the best week of my year. I never feel alone or left out, and it's good to feel like you're a part of something. I'm so glad I can come to camp. It makes having cancer worth it. I especially like going to the lake with my friends, and this is the one place I can swim without being embarrassed about my scar. I don't know what I would do without Camp Cabot. So I think that's a pretty huge testament to why it's so special. Activity. Number 1 rules, the activities are for the kids. Yes, please go do all the activities. I love to race the kids on go-karts. I love the water slide. I love all sorts of air hockey. I'm really fun with that one. But make sure you're playing with the kids, and it's not just like the adults doing the activities on their own. So make sure you're with them and making sure that they all get a turn. I didn't know that it had that in there, sorry. Okay, so the required activities, Danny's challenge, sit with your campers and keep them quiet. So that is one time we like them to sit together as a cabin. So sit together as a cabin, keep them quiet, keep them off their phones, and keep them awake. They're getting really tired, and they go sit in this cool area, and the lights are kind of dim, and they just want to pass out and go to sleep. So try to keep them awake and focused. You'll notice when we get there, it says try to fill the center of the auditorium and then the side sections. There's a very clear middle section and 2 more on each side. Push all the campers to that one. because they all try to go sit on the furthest off corner, and then they like to snuggle with each other or text, and they have to keep an eye on that. So push them to the middle. Volunteers can sit on the sides, but keep kids in the middle. And everyone goes to this. It's campers, volunteers, staff, and you can really learn a lot from these. I think if you pay attention, there's a lot of good messages that we can all hear and learn from. The staff, we get to learn it 6 times through the year, so we're really like pros about being challenged, but they're great for everyone. Some other mandatory things are thank you note time. Fishing day is not, we're not technically doing it this year. So typically at Camp Chavit at Lake Texoma, you have to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and be at the fishing docks at like 6:45. You're welcome, we're not doing that this year. So what we're gonna do is just anytime there's waterfront activities, a boat will pull up and say, I'm a fishing boat or I'm a tubing boat, and you just go do whichever. We have American Idol, the dance, meal times, all of that stuff everyone should be doing. Danny's challenge theme this year is connection. He has done a series of character coping, and then this last one is connection this summer, and it going over the 3 C's. American Idol. It is not required for everyone to participate, but everyone has to attend. Help keep the kids focused and into it. You know, you can only wave your arm like this so many times and you start to get tired, but really cheer for them and make them feel really supported and that it's the best thing that you've ever seen. So just go crazy. It's super touching. One of my favorites is one of the little boys on a walker. His activity one year was he was doing forward rolls on the stage, and he dedicated it to another kid, so it was just really cute. We had a kid that had like a never-ending karate session on the stage. We eventually had to shut that down. One kid made a chef salad, so you never know what they've got. One of the really cool ones, one of my kids did a Rubik's Cube in under a minute, and I was like, dude, yeah, this is really good. So they have some really cool talents, so just cheer them on, and it's really a lot of fun. Encourage your campers to participate, unless it's certain campers that sign up 7 times, and in that case, they only get 1 solo. So, because you can't cheer for you that many times. So you get 1 solo, make it a really good one. So tell them that. So you get 1 act per camper, or else we have way too long of American Idol. The carnival. So I believe this is Friday morning, something like that. We have the world's largest flow water slide. It's like 45 feet tall. It's really fun. Feel free to use it as much as you want to get it for that whole morning. We spend a lot of money to bring it out there, so make the best of it. It's not the same one we typically rent. Usually the one we rent comes from Texas, and they happen to be booked for another state this year at the same time. So we had to find a different one. And it's actually 5 feet taller, but it's shorter lengthwise, so a little concerned. So for the adults, the first time you go down it, I wouldn't suggest throwing yourself down it that hard to see how far you make it. So I do more of a sit and push the first time because I usually do like a running start and dive halfway down it, and I can make it to the end on the other one, but I'm a little concerned about going off the end on this one. So do a gentle test out first. We'll have some kind of like blow-up activities and games. It's just kind of a big fun area. We'll have cotton candy, watermelon, stuff like that. We just hang out one morning. The fishing days, we will not be leaving this year to go fishing. Like I said, you go to the docks, let's say, if they're tubing or fishing boat. Other things that we'll have going on, we'll have a ropes course, arts and crafts, jewelry, waterfront activities, the salon, massages. Yes, you heard that correctly. She's coming back. She's a massage therapist, and she just goes around, she does it usually somewhere near the salon, and gives the campers massages, or goes to the nurse's station, or if you're a stressed out volunteer, you know, whatever. She's super sweet. There's game rooms, arcades. We're doing a choir, and we're adding ukulele this year, because why not? So I asked for some ukuleles on Amazon, and we got like 20 of them. So any kids that want to learn how to play the ukulele, we're doing that this year also. It only takes about 30 minutes a day. There's going to be horseback riding, go-karts, arcades, basketball, swimming pool. There's a big pool, and there's 3 different slides too. Fair warning on the straight slide, also don't throw yourself down that unless you want to hit the wall on the other side. Adults get a lot of speed on that one. I tried it personally. Camper awards. So we have individual awards that are going to be given out to the counselors in your cabin. So you'll have pre-printed certificates in there. It'll have the kid's name on it, and you kind of write something on there. Please do not write like most improved or something like that. Like that is the worst award to ever receive. So don't be mean with them, even if they're a turd. So make sure you're really nice. One of the things that we started doing in my cabin a few years ago was we did all candy names. So there was like hot tamale for the little sassy one. Sour Patch Kid is a good one for one of those that are sweet and mean. And they're like, yeah, I know what you mean. And like we just kind of have fun little names with it. Tootsie Roll for like the dancers. But you can do whatever you want. So there will also be cabin MVPs. So come about Saturday, Sunday morning as a cabin, you need to start talking and thinking about who is the best kid that should get this trophy, who had the best behavior, who learned something from Danny's challenge, really represents the organization well. And you'll decide that as co-counselors, and then they'll get a trophy. You'll say something a little about them on the microphone, announce them, and they'll get a picture with you. For the other general trophies, just text me if you have something. You're like, hey, this kid was really good. They should probably get an award for this or whatever. Just text me. I usually have it done by Saturday night around the dance. So if they're on your radar, text me before then, or else it's too late and I already did it. So, and then guests don't typically receive awards, so keep that in mind. And there are way less trophies this year. It's going to get smaller every year. The former executive director was more of a participation awards person, and I'm just not. I think that the kids need to learn that sometimes you're really good and you still lose. That's just kind of part of life. So we'll have a lot less trophies so that you have to be like really awesome to win it. And that way they're more special. Outcomes and thank you notes. I promise guys we're getting there. So we have an outcomes project, and the kids have to, on the bus on the way to camp, they have to fill out this survey to ask them questions, and then they do it again on Sunday. So what we're doing is we work with a psychologist, her name's Dr. Sunny Mays, and she's measuring for us how is camp helping. So this actually qualifies us for a lot of grant applications, and it's proof that we're actually helping our kids, that we're able to measure that the kids feel, whether it's more prepared or understand their disease more or more comfortable, whatever it is we're measuring that year. So please, if you see them doing their survey and they're just like, hey, BPP, make them go back and redo it. So, because we need really valid information that we can use. The thank you notes. These are split into 2 sessions. There's going to be a boys session and a girls session. So if you are a camp counselor, and even if you're not, if you're in one of the volunteer cabins, please go help. Because a lot of the kids really struggle to read and write. A lot of them are dyslexic or things like that, so they might need a little help with that. So just make sure that we kind of keep it quiet and that they're writing good notes. It's about 4 notes per child that they have to write. They act like it's the end of the world, but it's so funny because if you write one really good one, you can copy it 3 more times and just change the name. I tell them this every year, and it's like they don't get it. I don't know how else to tell them, but maybe you'll help get it in their head. Go with your campers and just make sure that you're helping them. Keep it quiet, and like I said, you need one really good one, and then duplicate it. It's not that hard. The outcomes project. So like I said, there's a pre-camp, post-camp, principal survey. Just make sure during the surveys that you help them complete it. Some of them have trouble reading it and really understanding what it's saying. So if you notice they're really taking a little bit, make sure to go help them. Your responsibility. We have counselors and head counselors. There's kind of some go-to volunteers. These people have volunteered forever, and so we ask them for a lot of stuff because they're familiar. Our art room lead, her name's Kay Tainer. She has been to every single Camp Cabot but one. Like, that's amazing, because we started in like 93. So, We have a logistics team. They make sure that you guys have cold water every day at every station, and they work their butts off doing that all day long. So every time you see them, make sure you tell them thank you. There's fishermen that come out, boaters, LATs, so leaders in training. That's ages 18 to 21. A lot of people have confusion and they think that that's just former campers, but it's not. It's just a younger age group that are still kind of close to the camper's age, so they're kind of in training and then transition up. We have a lot of medical staff. Our board of directors might be there. Campers, alumni, and families. I have that in red. There will be families there that are volunteering that their child has died. So just always have that on your radar, like someone could have lost a child, you don't know why they're here. So just always kind of watch what you're saying and keep that in mind that there are going to be people there who have lost a child. Volunteer responsibilities. So watch your kids all the time, but especially at the lakefront and the pools. Supervise the activities, make sure you're there with them and just making sure that everything's kind of going okay. If you feel like there's nothing to help with, go ask the staff. We can tell you what we need help with. But a lot of times, everything is going fine and it's covered, and we really just need you to go hang out with the kids and have fun with them. So you might feel like, what? Like, am I really supposed to be doing that? But yes, you really are supposed to be doing that. So don't feel like you're doing nothing because you're playing go-karts. That's fine. Be alert, make sure they have name tags on, that they're drinking water. My favorite is you have to drink a bottle of water before you can get on our boat. So, helps. Help clean the cafeteria, help serve meals to kids. You'll notice a lot of kids that are maybe struggling to walk. So if you could carry the tray for them, that would be super helpful. Pick up after challenge. Every kid takes 4 sips of water and then they leave it sitting on the floor and they walk out. It's annoying. Everyone complains to me about it every year. There's nothing we can do about it. If you can magically make them drink that bowl of water, go for it. But I don't know how to solve that problem. So, yes, after the challenge, you have to pick up the empty water bottles and go dump them out in the flower beds and water their plants and then throw them in the trash. It's just what happens. If you're an expert at making them drink a bottle of water, more power to you. So I can't do it. Help the logistics teams, serve the campers, they need help getting around, things like that. Just hang out, be with them. And then find missing kids. Yes, they do go missing sometimes. And, you'll hear on the radios like, we can't find so-and-so, we can't find so-and-so. Instead of ignoring it, help go find them. So it's typically because they've missed their meds, and so we really need to go get them so they can take their meds. The cabins are very full. You will likely be sleeping on, well, not you, a child. And they will likely be sleeping on an air mattress. So you can pick them up at the command post if you end up needing one. But they are all very full or over capacity. So they're LITs, so if you're in one of the adult cabins, you can kind of just pick a cabin. I'm not going to assign it this year, but you're like, hey, I really like this age group. Just go hang out. You can go there first thing in the morning, see if they need help. Just walk on in. Nobody owns it. It's fun. Just be like, hey, I'm here to help. What do you guys need? If you really like the little young babies, help them. If you like the older teenagers, go help them. So just going to leave that up to you. There are one-on-one assignments. That was the email that went out Friday. It had assignments for people that are going to help with the salon, snow cones. There was a tab that had one-on-one assignments, your volunteer lodging, all of that. It was in that. So just make sure you look at that, and we'll go over it when we get to camp. The place is big, but it looks way worse on the map. You'll figure it out very quickly. It's an old west town, so everything kind of looks the same in that aspect. But you'll figure it out. It is kind of hard to keep up with the campers. Don't require group activities. It's all about freedom. Encourage groups of 3 or more. If you see a kid hanging out by themselves, say, hey, where's your buddy? You're not supposed to be alone. And then take them to go do something and go with some other kids. Loading the bus. Since we don't leave for fishing day, this only has to happen one time, so this is great. Who would have thought it's so hard to get kids on a bus, but it really is. So, on Sunday, help your kids get on the bus, and then they can't leave unless they have diarrhea. So, that's going to be my rule. on the bus, because then they're always like, oh, I need to say bye to so-and-so. No, you don't, you stay on there, text them later. So that's how we end up losing them, because we think they're on there, and then the bus takes off, and then they're still there. So let's try to avoid that. Load the bus, guard the door, nobody gets off the bus unless you have diarrhea. So there's a potty on the bus, so if they need to go number 1, that's okay. Number 2, they need to go straight to the bathroom at the town hall. And then you leave when the bus leaves, so please don't check out before the bus actually leaves with the campers. Incident reports. Was your camper disrespectful? Did they steal something? Did they pick on someone? Was the counselor inappropriate? Please tell us. There's incident reports at the command post, and it's a real simple form. You write your name, where you're at, what time, and what happened, and just as briefly as you can. You turn it in, there's a little file that says completed incident reports. You stick it in there, and we'll read over them every night. Sometimes if there's abuse or things like that that they're telling you about, we have to call DHS and make reports on that, or whatever. We'll decide if we need to take action that day or not. But please, if you're like, this was weird, you should know about it, please write it down. Under Oklahoma law, failure to report any child abuse is a misdemeanor charge. So if a camper tells you that they are being abused in any way, and then you feel bad because you don't want to get anyone in trouble, and you don't tell, you could be in a lot more trouble. So please keep that in mind. Every single year, we call DHS multiple times. It just happens. People think like, oh, they're already sick, like more bad things shouldn't be happening to them, and it shouldn't, but it does. One year at camp, we were literally walking to our cabin and hadn't even made it to the door, and my camper told me about, how hard their new dad beats them up. So it just happens, guys. And so figure out and talk to them about it and say, I'm so sorry to hear that. Try and get their mind off of it and talk them through the best you can and write out an incident report so we can follow up and help protect them. Also, false reports that lack factual foundation, that maybe they said something and you embellished and think it meant something else, that's also a misdemeanor. So make sure you got the story before you write it down. And there's also a hotline for disadvantaged adults who are victims of abuse. We also often call that. So we have a lot of adults that are kind of venting to us one-on-one as we're co-volunteers. And they tell us what's happening, and gosh, you don't want that to happen to adults either. So if that's coming up, write it down so we can call that hotline as well and make sure everyone's being taken care of. This is the activity assignment. So on the left, you'll see it's broken down Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday with time frames, and then kind of what the thing is you might be helping with. This was on that email that went out Friday, so please take a look at it, screenshot. It could change, likely, but this is what it is for the moment. These are one-on-one assignments. Left is the camper, and then to the right is who's helping them for what time frame. And then, thank you. There's not a gate code because they said they're going to lift the gates, so you don't need that. You may want to take a screenshot of this because it has all the staff phone numbers on it, so then you can put it on your cell phone later. But now is the time for any questions. So you take your pictures and then we'll do questions. There's no way that orientation was so good. Other questions? Yes.
So when we come on Tuesday, we park in the giant parking lot area.
Yes. And then hopefully your bag has wheels or it's not too heavy and you'll wheel it kind of central in there. If you do have a lot of stuff or it's really heavy, you could pull up nearby, unload it, and then go park your car in the parking lot. So that would be fine too. Just don't leave it on the lot. You will see there's cars left on the campsite. Those are state troopers and staff. So we like the majority of the cars to be in the main parking lot. Any other questions? Yes.
People do that?
You're going to take care of some kids?
Yeah, I was gonna ride with some kids to the camp.
Oh, you're riding the bus. That's what it is. Call Neil, but I'm pretty sure he wanted you to help ride the bus to camp and on the way home, so that you could help kind of watch and make sure nothing goes crazy on the bus. And then it provides you a free ride to camp.
So on the way back, we can ride back the bus, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you rode to it, you can ride back that way. Yes. Anyone else?
Since we're combining this camp with Camp Courage, are we doing group at this location?
They'll be kind of, I think sometimes on the schedule it says something about cabin time, and we would, so what Michaela's asking is, at all of our small camps, we do group, and even at Camp Courage, we kind of break off into smallish groups of 20, and kind of based upon their age and their diagnosis, and we talk about Danny's challenge and like how it relates to life and kind of talk through it. At Camp Cabot with 200 children, and the schedule is so full we don't typically do it, just because it's a beast, but I would encourage you in your cabins, like when you're there, like, hey, what did you guys think about Danny's challenge today? You know, how can you take away something from that, and just bring that kind of conversation up. That's super helpful to keep their mind on these things that we're trying to instill in them. Any other questions? Yes.
One, so if we're gonna come early on Tuesday to help set up and stuff, do we need to bring our luggage or our suitcase or whatever, or do we wait to talk and check in?
I'd probably wait till a little closer to 5-ish in case they're still cleaning any of them. But you'll know where you're staying, because that's likely not going to change. So at least you can you can go spot out where it's at. We also won't get there until 12:30, so at some point between 12:30 and 5, I'll put signs on the doors that say, you know, female volunteer, or peach cabin, blue cabin, whatever, to help you, but I can't guarantee when we'll get that done. Anyone else? Yes.
So dialysis is going to be at this location then?
So we'll do the campers that need dialysis. You'll know that when we go over your medical stuff in the cabin binder, and they have it on Wednesday and Friday morning, and it's very early so that they can get it done before and not miss out on any activities. So all you have to do is like stroll out of bed and walk into the nurse's cabin and drop them off. You don't have to get ready. Yes. Yes. Anyone that has medicine, please go turn it in, not first thing when the medical team arrives, but sometime that afternoon or evening. Please go turn in your medicine to the medical cabin, and they'll actually have like a volunteer's med bin. You can access it yourself and get into it, but we don't want you keeping it on you because the campers could get into it. I got a little upset last year because one of my volunteers had sleeping pills with them, and that's something that, I mean, one of the kids could have gotten a bag and really easily could be a problem. So a lot of people have pain pills or things like that. We just can't have them having access to it. And then the med station actually gets locked at night, so it's much safer. So please keep them there. Even things as simple as Tylenol. It's really great at this cabin because you don't need like Tylenol, stomach medicine, allergy medicine. We have it all. So you can just go there and get it. So you don't have to bring any of that with you. But prescription meds, please bring them and store them in the nurse's station. Anything else? If anyone happens to forget, that's my favorite. Is someone could show up and then you go to bed and they're like, oh, I don't have a blanket or a pillow. And you're like, what? But yeah, that happens a lot. So we have extra ones, and they'll be in bins at the command post, and they can borrow them, and we'll launder them and pack them up again for the next year. We also have anything you could possibly think of you forgot. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothbrushes, feminine needs, whatever. We have extras of all of that. Any other questions? If your medicine also needs refrigeration, there is a that we use for medicines at the nurse's station. Only other thing I can think of is, that I didn't think of in here, but if you are addicted to not water, this might be a problem for you. I don't let the kids drink sodas because it just dehydrates them and it doesn't help them out, and they're crazy enough without extra sugar. So those machines will get turned off when we do water only. I'm fine if people want to bring like Crystal Light packets or something like that. If that helps you drink more water, that's totally fine. If you are addicted to caffeine and you really need some drink with you, I want you to bring like a Yeti cup or something and put it in that where the kids can't see and they're like, oh my gosh, you have Dr. Pepper as my favorite. And because then it's just not fair. So if you have to have it, please hide it. But I also tell people it's a great week to ditch it if you're addicted to it. So just keep that in mind. I think that's it. There is coffee, and so many kids drink the coffee, which I don't know about that. They do. Right here.
Could you also put it in a liner, or do we bring it in the bottles?
What, your drinks?
No, our medicine.
If you could bring it in a pill planner with your name on it, I think that's probably easiest to store. Yeah. Yes.
So, I know you said it's supposed to be like super hot that week. Is like, are tank tops fine as long as?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I'm telling you, the old, like, you can wear tank tops, halter tops, any of that's fine. It's just like, the really low cut stuff is like really popular, and it's just not appropriate if you can. It's always an awkward conversation, but I have to have it every year. So, yeah.
And do we need jeans for horseback riding?
It would probably be good for allergies, just so that it's not rubbing on your legs, but they didn't say a requirement for any of that. So, I think it's about a 30-minute ride that they're going to do. But yeah, I typically wear a t-shirt and Nike shorts every day. So, you can wear tank tops, whatever you would like. So, everyone's definitely in casual clothing. One thing different, if you were a camper and now you're a counselor this year, typically there's 4 days worth of free t-shirts, but we cut out 2 of those because we're not leaving the campsite, so it was a $10,000 we didn't need to spend. So we cut those out, so you only get a t-shirt on Wednesday and Sunday. So Wednesday, you'll either have your cabin color shirt, or if you're not assigned in a cabin, you're gonna have a gray shirt that says volunteer on the back. So you'll have that. And then on Sunday, the shirt is gray. It says we're willing to not find a child and has our logo on the back. And you'll wear that. But other than that, during the week, you can wear what you want. If you want 4 shirts, you have to come back next